All right, so we all know that we had the hurricane this past weekend. And my yard was a mess, I know that for sure. Did anybody else have to go help their parents clean their yards up this weekend?
I did.
Yeah. All right, so after I finished cleaning my yard, I was in the cleaning mood, so I decided to go into my car, and I cleaned out my car. And when I cleaned out my car, I found all of this. Has anybody seen these before? If you have, put a thumbs up. If you haven't, put a thumbs down. All right. Okay, does anybody know what they're called?
Cents.
Cents. Close. That's the value they are. The value of it is in cents. Does anybody else have an idea?
Money.
Money. It is money, but there's different forms of money.
Coins.
Coins. That's a very good answer. That is exactly what these are labeled. They're labeled as coins. And do we know what they're used for?
Buying stuff.
Buying things. All right. So today we are going to be learning about the characteristics of these coins. And by the end of the lesson, I hope that you know the value and the name of each of these 4 coins. There's 4 different coins we're going to learn about today. I hope you know the name and the value of them all. This is very important because we'll be doing more lessons later on this year with these coins, and you'll also be using them in your next coming grades, as well as you'll be using them in your real life. You have to go buy things and you'll have to sell things. Okay. So to start, I'm going to hand you a piece of paper. So don't do anything with the piece of paper quite yet. So I want you guys to take this paper and, like we have done in the past, I want you to fold it in a hot dog style. And then I want you to unfold it. So it should look like this. And then I want you to take it and fold it in a hamburger style. So we're going to make 4 different squares. Now I'm going to come around. I'm going to hand you our first coin. You're going to get 2 of these coins, and I'll explain that later. So the coin that I just handed you is a penny. Now we're going to learn about the characteristics of the penny. So I want you on the right side. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make my paper as well for that. So we want it to be long ways. And I'm going to go with 4 squares. And I'm going to put my penny right here. So I want it on the top left of your paper. And we're going to write the word. Okay. So this coin is the only copper colored coin. So this is the color of the coin. So we're going to write on our anchor chart, we're going to write copper. And we're going to write colored. It also, on the face or the front of the coin, it has President Lincoln, who was the 16th president. On the back of the coin, it has the Lincoln Memorial, or if you look at your other coin, it has the Union Shield. So there are 2 different backs to our coins, or tails is what the back of the coin is called. Okay, so we're going to put on the front equals President Lincoln. And on the back equals, you can put the Lincoln Memorial or Union Shield. And then the value of our penny. We're going to put value equals. And there's a couple ways to write it. The value of a penny is 1 cent. So that's one way to write it. We write our 1 and we write the word cent. As you can see, you can also write it with a dollar sign. So it's $.01. Or there's one last way that is not on here. And that is going to be writing the number 1 and then writing the cent sign. So the cent sign is a C with a slash across it. Is there any other way you guys can think of to describe this coin?
Shiny.
Shiny. Okay. We'll put our thoughts down here. Does anybody else have an idea before we move on to the next point? Good. And what I want to do, and I'm gonna underline the very important part. This is very important to know the name, and it's very important to know the value of this coin. The next coin we are going to look at is the nickel. So I'm passing out a nickel that you can look at. And as you will notice, actually you won't notice on these, but the nickel does have 2 different fronts, and it also sometimes will have a different back as well. So I'm going to pass these around for you to look at. You can pass the 2 that I'm handing Joe around so that you guys can see that they do have different fronts and they can have different backs. So this is going to be our nickel spot. Is going to go right here. And we spell it N-I-C-K-E-L. As you can see, there's the color difference. The nickel is silver in color. So we're going to write silver. There are 3 silver coins. So this is going to be the middle in size. So the other 2 coins, there's going to be one smaller and one larger. So what we're going to do is I'm going to draw just a little way to demonstrate it. And then I'm going to draw an even bigger one, and I'm going to put a star in the middle. So it makes it a little bit easier for you guys to understand with a little less words. So it's the middle in size of the silver coins. On the front, no matter which picture you see, it is President Thomas Jefferson. Which was our 3rd president. And then on the back of most coins is the Monticello, which is the house that Thomas Jefferson lived in. Let me write on back. And then this is on the front. And then the value of the nickel is 5 cents. So it's not 1 anymore, so it's a plural. So we have to add the S at the end. You can also write it as you can see up here with the dollar sign and the 0.05. Or we can write it 5 and then our cent sign. Is there anything else you notice about the nickel? Yes, Joe. All right. Now we're going to move on to our next coin, which is the dime. The dime, I know the other 2 that we talked about, does not have any other version. It's always the same. So we have our dime. Also, if we want to come back to our nickel and underline our name and our values. That's going to be the most important thing for you guys to remember from this lesson. So our dime, it is silver in color. It is going to be the smallest of the silver coins. So the best way to do it is do the same thing, and then maybe just put a star over it to show that it's the the smallest. And then we're going to move on to the front. The front of the coin has Franklin Roosevelt on it. And the back. On the back, there's three different items that are symbols. We have the olive branch, which is a symbol for peace. We have the oak branch, which is a symbol for strength and independence, and a torch, which is the symbol for liberty. So how I want you guys to write that is just we're going to write torch equals liberty, oak branch equals independence or strength. You can write either word. And then the olive branch equals peace. Again, our value for the dime is 10 cents. So we write 10 and then we write the word cent with an S because it is more than 1. We can also write it with a dollar sign. And there is going to be no 0 in the front. It's 10, so we put 0.10. Or we can write 10 with our cent mark. Alright, that's going to be all that we're going to cover today. We'll move on tomorrow and we'll finish our anchor chart with the quarter.